All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bake all of these. And the thing that's kind of nice about having them in separate pieces is that I can pick individual pieces and bake them to separate layers, right? So let me go ahead and I'm going to unpreview that one. So we for that, and also unpreview that one. So we have it sort of just as a single piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my hatch and I'm going to right click and I'm going to bake that. And I'll bake that down to, I think we were using the extra light effects, right? And so now that hatch is baked to that. And then this guy, which is the region union, I'll bake that to, how about cut? And then maybe I also want one that's really light in the background that shows all of them. So maybe this guy. So if I preview that, it's all the pieces, right, individually. So if I go and bake that, I'll just bake that on, try to find a good one. How about the O Thin Nature Entourage, right? Um, and now I can come in and if I turn off the preview for all of that, and let's make Rhino larger, and I'll move Grasshopper over here, I now have, right, on the cut, I have this layer, right? And then on the effects extra light, I have the hatch layer, right? And then on the nature entourage, I have that layer. So I have multiple options for, like I could dash this one, right? And you could see where everything came from, use the hatch, or just have that one. So giving you multiple options when you get into Adobe Illustrator. I mean, the other thing you could do is you could sort of test with what we were talking about before is, I had flattened these. So if I unflatten them, right, and preview that, it gives us all the individual ones. Now I could actually bake that to another layer. So maybe cut section detail. And let's get rid of the preview for that and make Rhino large again. So now what I have is, if I get rid of section detail, I have that, but I could also have this, right? So you have multiple options when you're doing all of this stuff to get what you want out of it, right? Okay, the final thing I'll show you, and let's make this small and pull this over here. And let's just turn off these guys for right now, right? And I'll turn this guy back on, right? And maybe let's flatten that again. Whoops, flatten the right one, so flatten the geometry, right? And then let's get rid of this flatten because we don't need it. Now what I wanted to do as well is I wanted to create the polar array in Grasshopper. So I'll go ahead and do that. So what we can do with that is I'm just going to pull, let's go to curve, right? And I'll pull, instead of all the curves, I'll just pull this one curve in. So I just have this one curve. And then I want to polar array that. And there is a polar array here. So I'll just polar array, right? And so what it wants is, let's go ahead and pull it up here. So we're in kind of the same place. It wants the geometry, which is the curve, right? And then it wants a plane. So it's going to use the 0, 0. So you can see it arraying all the way around 0, 0, 0 by default. So what we want to do is we want to move that plane to a point right here. So in Rhino, I'm just going to make a point, and I'm going to put it in the center of that guy. And I'm going to container that point, right? So set one point. And I'm going to use that as the plane. Right, so now I've got that guy. Now I can do, right, the count, right there. And then I could also do the angle. So right, and pull that in to there. Make sure to set the angle to degrees, right, and then you can start to adjust how this thing is arraying, right? So we'll leave it at 360. You can also come in obviously and do this guy. So now you've got that. I'll go ahead and get rid of the preview for that curve. Now instead of using this one curve that you made in Rhino, you can actually take the geometry and push that right into here, and then push that into here, right? And if we look now, right, you're getting this guy, and if I start to adjust this, right, you're going to start to see what happens with the pattern, right? And again, you could also do this. I don't know. It's going to be sort of interesting to see how it, right? So you can start to play with that, and it's going to be doing, right, the hatch pattern as we set it through. So lots of different things that you can do, but give it a try, and hopefully it will work out.